What's up everyone? So today I'm gonna try something a little different. I have been kind of open in the past about my Adderall journey. My whole intention with this series is to help at least just one person, and I always just think back to last year when I thought I couldn't get to the point where I am now as far as like being a year absolutely sober from Adderall. That idea of that seemed impossible. So all that to say, I just really want to help anyone out there that I can regarding the situation, because it's honestly a really lonely journey. If you haven't seen my video already talking about the background, my story, I'm going to link somewhere in the description or maybe in like one of the buttons or whatever you can do on YouTube, some of that, so you can just have more context. But how did you know that it was time to quit? I like to think of Adderall as like a real toxic relationship that you learned so much from, and in a weird way, you don't regret anything that happened, but you're very thankful and glad that you're able to come out the other side and be so much happier. And you can look back on that ex and just think like, you know, that was definitely a chapter or a few chapters of my life, but that's over and we're on to bigger and better things. I was in a 6 to 7 year toxic relationship with a substance, and I didn't really know that until right before I made the decision to quit. It's actually funny because I had a life coach at the time help bring awareness to the fact that I was literally in a toxic relationship. That whole point of me taking Adderall, I was not able to maintain a real healthy romantic relationship. And I feel like a lot of that had to do with the growth that I had to experience after quitting, if that makes any sense. I created this limiting belief that in order for me to be my best self, I needed to be on Vyvanse, because I felt almost what I thought was more like myself. If you are taking Adderall and it's helping improve your life and you don't have any intentions of quitting, by all means, like, do you. If anything, I cannot speak for other people's experience. This is just my own personal experience. I am not a doctor. I am not a physician. I feel like at the end of the day, only you, not even any doctor, know what is best for you intuitively. And intuitively, I felt that this wasn't sustainable. I could not imagine living a long, happy, healthy life and taking Adderall. The two just didn't exist in reality that in which I wanted to be in. I want to say, like, every time I would take my, I think 25 milligrams of Vyvanse, it was more like a feeling like I don't think this is gonna be good in the long run. So it was just like all these things, a culmination of many events, thoughts came to a point where I was like, I'm gonna quit. So I guess to give a little bit more background on that, because I still had this limiting belief that in order for me to perform the best and be my best self, I need to be on the substance, I carried that with me even throughout my work life. I was working in tech for about, I want to say like 2 or 3 years. I couldn't just stop taking medication because I had already created a whole life around it. Whether it was from working out on Adderall, being social, seeing friends on Adderall, like I had created a whole identity around the substance. I guess like the biggest catalyst as well, essentially I ended up getting fired from my job in 2020. There were a lot of layoffs that had happened within the company. I wasn't even laid off. I was literally told by my boss that I am not performing well. Granted, I will say because it was COVID and the field that I was in, it was really dependent on travel and events and stuff. So if I'm being super honest, I think that was like a big factor, but it was a blessing in disguise, because if I hadn't gotten fired, you guys, I would still be on Adderall to this day. You know, because the main factor of me taking it was to perform at work, really. You know, if I didn't have a job, what was the point in taking it every day? There were more cons outweighing the pros. So for example, in the beginning, you have this feeling of like euphoria and stuff the first few years, but that feeling goes away and then you're left feeling like a robot, essentially. I remember feeling really numb, and I feel like Adderall really helped me suppress a lot of emotions. And it's so funny, you guys, I didn't even realize that I actually am an emotional person until after I got off the Adderall. It inhibited my creativity, and I like to think of myself as a very creative person, or at least I love expressing myself through art, fashion, all these things. But Adderall, I didn't have a desire to do those things. There's another big factor, you guys: sleep. My sleep and anxiety was getting so bad. I would take it probably maybe 4 to 5 times a week, and I would take breaks on weekends. My tolerance kept on increasing, so my dosage kept on increasing, and it just really felt like I wasn't going down a good path. I'm not even kidding. I would take, I think, like 5 to 10, maybe even 15 milligrams of melatonin. Eventually the melatonin didn't work and I ended up getting prescribed hydroxyzine. So my sleep was just getting so bad, and I was like, wow, like it was like a slippery slope, because it was Adderall, and then now it's hydroxyzine, and now it's like all these things that I kept on getting, like all these like other bad habits that were a result of taking Adderall. So, you know, definitely the cons started outweighing the pros. So I was just like, yeah, when this window happened of where I didn't have a job, I was like, I'm just gonna quit. Looking back, the withdrawals, it was not fun, and I would not do it again, but I got through it. And you will get through it too. I was dreading the withdrawals, or like that period that I would inevitably face. You know, like I really trust and have faith in God, and I feel like the reason for me losing my job, really, me to have the best environment to just detox. I was able to move back in with my family and my parents, so I was able to not have a job. I think that's what made it hard for me. I know not everyone has the luxury of doing this, but if you're able to somehow even like quit your job, if you've been wanting to quit your job or whatever, like that's the best time to not be on Adderall, because you don't have any like obligations. You don't have to use, I'm just being so honest, you don't have to use your brain as hard, because this drug is like no joke. It like really changes the chemistry of your brain. So imagine like your body is just trying to get back to a new baseline, a new state of like balance. Your withdrawal is essentially like breakup from a toxic ex. But the thing with that is, it feels like almost cathartic and good, because it's like, I don't have to deal with this anymore, and now it's just time for me to heal. I feel like the 6-7 years I was on the substance, like I just suppressed who I really was, because I really feel like I'm born again. I feel like a part of me died, like going through a whole new chapter, a new phase of my life, and truly as myself and without Adderall, you guys. And it's crazy, but I choose this life a million times over the path I was on. I will say from experience, I feel like I made the right choice. I cannot speak for you. I don't know your whole life and your whole situation. I feel like some people may just genuinely need it to have a good quality of life, and that is okay. Do whatever you have to do. But for me, this is what I had to do, and I'm so thankful I did it. I was seeing a new therapist, and I made it a point to find a therapist that would help me with this situation, because prior to seeing the therapist, I saw a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist, I was telling her about my whole situation. Yeah, obviously like a lot of medical professionals are going to be very biased, and they're not going to want you to quit. They're going to tell you if you're diagnosed with something, you're going to need to stick to your medication, because that makes sense. However, that just wasn't the path that I was going to take. So I was blessed enough to attract a therapist that supported me on this journey of being holistic and quitting the substance. She was just really non-judgmental about my whole experience, and unless someone has, like, unless you yourself have gone through this, no one can relate to what you're going through. So I did feel really alone, but I am honestly thankful that I had my therapist, at least, because she's a professional that was able to provide me help. I was living at my parents' house, so my parents knew about everything. Actually, my mom was very involved with my journey from the beginning, and actually didn't want me to get on Adderall because of this, but she was still always supportive, because that's just the mom that she is. But she helped keep me accountable. I gave her my medication to pretty much guard and hold for me, just so that I wouldn't be tempted to take it. I told friends, if you do not have a support system, I feel for you, and I want to provide help in any way I can, whether it's making these videos. But another place also, if you don't have people like that, Reddit. Groups really helped me. I'm gonna try to link below which Reddit groups I was in. It just really helped to see, to have a community of people who, you know, are asking the same questions and who've already overcome the experience, and so on and so forth. I relied on YouTube heavily to help answer my questions and stuff like that. So there are a lot of great resources, but quitting the earlier, the better. I will say that. There will probably never be a good time to quit, but there will be times better than others. For example, if you're in school, it's better to quit during like a break, like spring break, winter break. I would say winter break. The longer break you have, or if you have like, if you're able to take off a semester, I know that's crazy, but like the key is to create the best environment for you to experience your withdrawals. Be as if going through a breakup. You want to be able to have a support system. You want to be able to feel all the feelings you need to feel. You want to be able to sleep, because your body will either catch up on sleep or you won't sleep. Best time to quit would be a time when you could take off of work or school or whatever your biggest like obligation is. I was always putting it off. I feel like during college, like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take Adderall until college, right? And then I'm done. However, because I put that off, I was like, I don't know, I somehow, like, that ended up snowballing into post-college and like, you know, it's like the more you keep on putting it off, the harder it's going to be to leave. So if you feel intuitively that's the right choice for you, then act on your intuition. But anyway, yeah, so I think those are the main points as far as like when I knew it was time, how did I know it was time to quit Adderall. If anyone is struggling with this, like, I really feel for you, and I am sending you positive energy and prayers, and I trust in the universe and God. And with that, anything in life that is meant for you cannot pass you. If you're meant to live a life Adderall free and that's what you dream of, that will be your reality. So you just have to hold on to that belief and trust that everything will fall into place. I know that sounds really like woo-woo and shit, but like that is honestly what I had to trust in myself. Like, I had to hold on to the idea that I would eventually live that reality, and here I am today. But I know it could feel like hopeless and like it's like you're trapped. That's how I felt. I felt like I was like trapped and like I couldn't get out. And by the grace of God, I'm able to talk to you guys today and say that I've been Adderall free for almost 2 years, and I do not ever intend on taking that ever again in this lifetime or looking back. So I think that's all I could really talk about, at least for that question, you guys. Again, please let me know how I could assist you in any way, what specific questions I can answer. My intention is to just think of questions that I would have had for myself in the past and answer those. I don't know what kind of order it's going to be, but again, you would help me greatly if you could let me know, because I'm more than happy to help. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video, and until next time, bye!